Shalom, brothers and sisters. My name is Brother Nathaniel, and to my right is Barak Shah. Today's topic is going to be Jews and Gentiles. There's much confusion regarding the topic of Jews and Gentiles. Will the nations which are also called Gentiles be saved? Or is it a possibility that the Israelites are called Gentiles in the scriptures? That's the true one. Israelites are often called Gentiles as well. And we're going to prove that according to the Holy Scriptures. Let's open up with Ezra. We're going to start with the history. Let's open up with Ezra chapter 1, and let's read verses 3 to 5.
Ezra chapter 1, verse 3.
Start at verse 2, actually.
Verse 2. Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him a house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah.
So now, the nation of Israel had gone through the Assyrian captivity, the Babylonian captivity, and now you have the Persian captivity. That's why in verse 1 it says, now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia. So now when you read the history, the Most High had sent this Cyrus, this Persian, up to release the Israelites from captivity. So the Lord said to Cyrus that he wanted him to build Jerusalem again. So the way he was going to do it was through the Israelites, by releasing the Israelites from captivity. So now verse 3.
Verse 3. Who is there among you of all his people?
Of all his people, meaning of the children of Israel,
his God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem. And whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver, and with gold, and with goods, and with beasts, beside the freewill offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem.
Let's pause there a second. So now notice in verse 4, Cyrus says, and whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, meaning if you want to stay in those lands where you were made captive at, you want to live there peaceably, he said, still help. Send help with gold and silver. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah, and Benjamin, and the priests, and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised, to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem.
So now, out of the 12 tribes of Israel, it makes clear the majority of who left. It says, then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah, that's one tribe, and Benjamin, that's another tribe, and the priests and the Levites, that's the southern kingdom, the entire southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Then notice it says, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. Meaning there were other portions of other Israelites that also went back, but the majority of them was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Understand that, because a lot of times when you get to the history with Christ, you're confused about, oh, well, what happened? Okay, so now, let's go from there. What happened to another portion of the other Israelites? Let's go to Apocrypha. 2nd Esdras chapter 13. In the Apocrypha, 2nd Esdras chapter 13, and let's read verses 40 to 45. This Esdras in the Apocrypha is the same Ezra in the regular Bible, okay?
2nd Esdras chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
The reason it says 10 tribes is because the tribe of Dan at this time was counted amongst the Israelites. Go ahead.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, who Salmanasseh the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
So how did these Israelites of those 10 tribes take this counsel that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go into another country, a further country? Remember, we just read, Cyrus gave them liberty. He gave the Israelites freedom from captivity. Come on.
Verse 42. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
So now the Most High is showing Esdras a vision of the roadmap the Israelites would take to go from the eastern side of the world and go to the western hemisphere, which is over here. Go ahead.
And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over.
So the Most High calmed the rivers, the ocean, so that the Israelites would make it through the Euphrates. And when you examine the map, it goes through the Euphrates River, goes into the Indian Ocean, which goes down around the southern tip of Africa and leads you up to the so-called Americas. Right?
Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Osiris.
So that region of the Middle East where they left from was called Osiris. And the scriptures tell you it took them a year and a half. Go ahead.
Then dwelt they there unto the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come, the high shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace.
So now those 10 tribes, now the bulks of those tribes had came to this side of the world according to scriptures, Bible history. But there was still, remember, Israel numbers the sand of the sea. I want you to remember that. So there's a remnant that remained back in those lands. Remember Cyrus had said, let's go back to real quick.
Ezra 1.
Yeah, Ezra chapter 1, I think it was verse 3. Read that.
Ezra chapter 1, verse 3. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him.
Let's read verse 4. That's what I want.
Verse 4. And whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the man of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts, beside the freewill offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem.
That's the key part I wanted, to show you that there was a remnant of Israelites that remained in the places where they sojourned. Right. So you had the southern kingdom that went back to Jerusalem to rebuild. Then you had the 10 tribes that went to another part of the world, but there was a remnant that remained behind where they sojourned. That's the history that Christianity does not teach. Okay? So from there, let's go to Jeremiah 31. Okay? Because there's this doctrine that, oh, Israelites are no more. Right. No, the Israelites are still around. Okay? We are the Israelites. All those whose forefathers are of Negro and Indian descent are the biblical Israelites. Jeremiah 31, let's read verses 35 to 37.
Jeremiah 31, verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
So the Most High says, if the sun, the moon, and the stars are done away with, then there will be no more Israelites. Do we still see the sun, the moon, and the stars? Yes. So the doctrine of Christianity is about Israel by faith. That's garbage. Right. The biblical, real Israelites are still here because there's still a sun, a moon, and stars. All right? Read on.
Verse 37. Thus saith the Lord, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth search out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord.
So the Most High then says, if heaven above, space can be measured, and or the heavens above, or the waters beneath the earth can be measured, then he's going to cast Israel off for their sins. But it cannot be measured. Their depths of the sea have not been even explored yet. Okay? So now, let's go from there. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. Let's go to Romans chapter 10. Romans chapter 10. All right? And let's start at verse 19 to 21.
Romans chapter 10, verse 19. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you.
So now the common doctrine is that this no people, this foolish nation, are other nations, Gentiles. Okay? But let's see if this foolish nation, this no people, isn't Israelites. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 19. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you.
Let's pause there. Let's go to the quote in Deuteronomy 32 and verse 21. Who is this no people, this foolish nation? Let's get to actual quote. Deuteronomy 32, verse 21.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanity.
So the Israelites provoked the Most High to anger. Okay, they made him jealous. Go ahead.
And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
So now, no, the Most High in his prophecy says, Israel angered him. He's going to provoke Israel to anger, to jealousy, with a no people and a foolish nation. Let's see who this is talking about. Let's go to 1 Peter's. Because the Apostle Peter, he knew the scriptures. All the apostles knew the scriptures. Okay? 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 10. Let's see if the mystery is revealed or not. 1 Peter's chapter 2.
Verse 10.
Yeah. Let's start up at verse 9.
Okay. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people.
Stop. Where did Peter get this quote from? Real quick, go to Deuteronomy 7 and 6. I'm going precept upon precept. That's how you read the Bible, according to Isaiah 28, verse 9 and 10. So let's read the quote that Peter's quoting. Deuteronomy 7 and 6, I think it is.
Deuteronomy 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So now who is he speaking to? Deuteronomy 1 and 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Stop. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel. Back to Deuteronomy 7 and 6 again.
Deuteronomy 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Okay, now back to 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9 again.
1 Peter 2 and 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
So Peter's addressing this same thing to the Israelites, that in Christ we were called out of darkness into the marvelous light of the Most High through Christ. Next verse.
Verse 10. Which in time past were not a people.
Oh, wait a minute. Which in time past Israel was not a people. Come on.
Which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy.
So we at one time were not a people, because why? The Most High cast us off, away for breaking his commandments. We went into the Assyrian captivity, we went into the Babylonian captivity, and the Persian captivity. We got released. Then, what happened after Persian Mede captivity? You had the Greeks come and conquer us, okay? Then now, during the time of Peter, is Rome, okay? That's why during this time period, Christ had to come. So now it says, verse 10 again.
Which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy.
So now, let's go back to Romans 10, where we were at originally, okay? Romans 10, let's start back at verse 19.
Romans 10, verse 19. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you.
So who is this no people, this foolish nation? Peter already revealed who it is. The Israelites, that peculiar nation, that holy nation, that had not obtained mercy. How did we not obtain mercy? We went into captivity. Then it says we obtain mercy. How? Through Christ. Okay, read on.
Verse 20. But Isaiah is very bold, and saith, I was found of them that sought me not. I was made manifest unto them that asked not after me.
So now you must know the history. Who was seeking the Most High during the time of Paul when he was writing this? You had 3 tribes in Jerusalem: Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The bulk of them had set themselves up. You had the Levitical order, then you had the scribes and the Pharisees, the religious Sanhedrin of Israel. But guess what? There was still a remnant of Israel that remained in the lands from the time of Cyrus the Persian, who remained in the lands of Ethiopia, remained in the lands of the Corinthians, remained in the lands of the Thessalonians, remained in the lands of the Philippians, remained in the lands of the Corinthians. So you don't know about this history, but now that's why the Most High has called us to show you all this history. Okay? Go ahead. So that remnant that did not come back to the land, they weren't following the Lord, meaning following the Levitical covenants exactly under Moses. No, many of them didn't do it. You had some that did and will go back to the land, like when you read in Acts 2. You had a remnant that went back every year to keep the high holy days. But guess what? Many more Israelites remained in the lands where they sojourned. They could have cared less. They said the Most High cast us off. Let's follow the customs of the land. That's what they did. Okay, verse 20 again.
Verse 20. But Isaiah is very bold, and saith, I was found of them that sought me not.
Those Israelites that did not seek the Lord are those that did not go back to the Levitical covenant. Go ahead.
I was made manifest unto them that asked not after me.
And how did they not ask after the Lord? They weren't taking part in the sacrifices, asking the Levites to make intercession for them. They weren't doing that. They remained in the lands where they sojourned. Go ahead.
But to Israel he saith, all day long I have stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people.
So who are these people of Israel that were gainsaying and disobedient? The scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, okay, those Israelites, the Levitical Sanhedrin, okay, the religious leaders. Right. That's the disobedient ones, okay? Those are the ones that gave Christ up and said, crucify him, and let his blood be on us and our ancestors, okay? So now, from there, let's go to Deuteronomy 28. We're going to go back into the prophecy now that Moses prophesied, where we would get we would be called other names. Deuteronomy 28, verse 37.
Mm-hmm. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Did you hear the prophecy here? This is the prophecy, the curses that came upon the Israelites for breaking the commandments. And it says, you shall become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword. You know what a proverb and a byword is? Being called outside your God-given name. No longer being called Israelites, because Israel means what? Prince of God. They were not called that anymore. They were called what? Gentile names. They were called Corinthians. They were called Thessalonians. They were called Ethiopians. They were called Assyrians. They were called Persians. They were called Arabians. Okay, so read it again.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. So from there, go to verse 64, the same chapter, to show you this prophecy.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
The Lord shall scatter them where?
Among all people.
Among all people. Go ahead.
From the one end of the earth, even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So this is showing you more proof that when the Israelites were scattered amongst these other people, these other nations, what did they start to do? Majority of them started to worship idols. Idols. That's why when you read in Corinthians, Paul says you were at one time carried away with these dumb idols. You've got to understand the history and the prophecies of Israel. All right? So from there, let's go to, let's go to Acts 2. There was something in Acts 2 to show you more proof that the Israelites, there was a remnant of Israelites that was Israelites amongst these other countries that had held on to the Levitical covenant, but many more did not. I'm going to show you that there were some that did hold on to it. Acts 2, and I believe, let me look at it real quick.
Verse 5.
Okay, go ahead.
Acts 2, verse 5.